Hi, it's Marnix here with another Velomobile video. This video contains a few scenarios where I ask myself the question whether it's legal or what the right way to do things is when it comes to riding my Velomobile in these particular scenarios. A few times I've been told that my Velomobile is very difficult to see, and I'm sure it is at times. However, in this particular example, you can actually see that sometimes drivers simply don't look as the car in front of me suddenly has to stop for a car making a U-turn in front of them. In this next example, I'm entering a bike lane and I'm travelling faster than the cars on the road. The cars are travelling approximately 40 kilometers an hour and I'm going slightly faster than that. I guess I asked the question, am I allowed to pass these cars? Now here I've just made a left turn and I can see that there's now a bike path next to me. However, the bike path is difficult to ride with tight turns and obstructions in its way. It's much more efficient for me to stay on the road in this case, especially because towards the end of this road I need to turn right. At this particular intersection, my bike isn't heavy enough to trigger the traffic lights. I've moved over the sensor for the traffic lights. Unfortunately, the car behind me has not actually driven onto the sensor, and so the lights are not changing. As you can see, I had to indicate to the driver behind me to just move up a little bit, and then the lights did change. In this stretch of road there's only a shoulder and I'm not on a bike lane. However, I seem to be going faster than the traffic here, so I decided to stay at the traffic speed. I've had several occasions where on a roundabout I've been passed. Now in this roundabout the bike lane is actually indicated on the roundabout. Am I required to stay in the bike lane or can I take up the centre of the road? It's somewhere along this stretch of the bike path where my Velomobile suddenly gets a puncture. Fortunately I was prepared for this. About 5 minutes later I'd repaired the puncture and I decided to head back again. In this particular section of cycle path, the Velomobile picks up a lot of speed. I wonder what the speed limit is, if there is any, on the cycle path. The person on the bike in front of me is about to break a rule. However, the situation was completely safe, as you could see that there was no oncoming traffic or any traffic that would be coming into his path. You can see the rider looking around to see if it's safe to make the turn, and then decides to do so. In doing so, he did ride through a red light. Here is a good example of how it's much easier to just ride on the road than trying to follow the cycle path. I've had to go up and down and cross roads on this particular cycle path for the last few hundred meters, and yet this cyclist that's just coming up is able to just smoothly carry on.
Hey. That's awesome. Yeah, it's fun, eh? actual pedal power, right?
Yeah, it's an e-bike, so I'm pedaling and it's got a electric assist. Yeah.
For me, it would also be much easier to just ride on the road.
Top speed of that?
Oh, about 50.
However, in this area, I chose to follow the bike path. On this particular road there are often traffic jams, and as you can see, for the next 2 kilometres or so I just pass cars all the time just using the cycle lane. I wonder what is a safe speed to pass all these cars. And here you can see that I'm taking up some space on the road instead of being on the cycle path. I feel it's safer to take up some of the road when I'm travelling at the same or faster than the speed of the cars. Well, that brings me to the end of this video. Please let me know in the comments how you would approach some of these scenarios, and as always, thanks for watching.